Trending with the Tribune presents Part 2 with the Office of Emergency Management.
Are you all connected to local news stations?
Oh, absolutely. And our public information officer, Joseph Pleasant, was here earlier, but also Heidi does a lot with this. When we start talking about social media, and actually Heidi is really excellent at it, we reach out via social media to give out information. But when it comes to events, like any event, from all the news, 2, 4, 5, 17, and if I miss one, oh well, they all reach out to us, and we do, we feed them information that we can. And now they're not allowed here when we're activated, but we do interviews, but we're always feeding them. We don't try to hide anything. Because we know that's an outlet. Just like you're doing this interview. So, how many people's going to look at it? Hopefully many, right? Because that's why you're doing it. But doing a news event or there's a disaster, everybody tunes into the news. So that's what we use as a resource. And Heidi can tell you better than I can about how important social media is. She's got people, and I'll let her talk on it, but how they really look for her to put out stuff.
Touch on the nerve at the end of that, if you don't mind.
So when we have the Emergency Operations Center activated in here, there's a section that is strictly for the public information officers from not only OEM and fire, but Public Works, Water, the Mayor's Office. All those different public information officers are trained to come in here and work together collectively during an emergency situation. When the EOC is activated, all emergency information or emergency-related information about sheltering or evacuations, that will all come out from the Emergency Operations Center. So it's so important for folks to tune into our social media avenues, which is Facebook, Twitter. You can even go to the website, and we try and keep everything posted. But this is the source for emergency information when it comes to disasters and larger emergencies. And along those lines, we have the NERV program, which is Nashville Emergency Response Viewing Engine. That was actually a lessons learned from the 2010 flood, that we needed an avenue to be able to capture road closures and other important information for the citizens, to be able to go to one location and get as much information as they possibly can. So that website, you can get to it from our website, but you can also just type in nerv.nashville.gov. And on here, we can put, if there's an area that needs to be evacuated, where are the shelter locations, disaster information centers, disaster recovery centers, where can you get food, where can you get clothing. Press releases are put up on there, so you can sign up to get the feed for that, and other information. And so one of the great things about this program is let's say you're at home but you need to get to a shelter. Well, we want you to get to that shelter as quickly and safely as possible, so you can get directions within the NERV program on how to get to that shelter in avoiding hazard areas. So is there a flooded road, or is there other roads being closed? It will give you the directions to go around all that and how to get there safely. So that is a great full database on emergency information, and that is only activated, and there is only information plugged into there if the EOC is activated, either partially or fully.
And a good thing as well, Heidi, if you would, the one that we have up where other people put stuff up, we can, what's the open, it comes up
From other counties.
What's that called?
Oh, the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service has a chat.
Yeah, so chat, they have a National Weather Service have a chat, and so anybody anywhere can be typing in stuff. I've seen a tornado here or there, and what we can sit here and look at that. And now, so let's say we have something that comes up, then this is where, well, Scott would play a big important role, because he's the field guy. He's out there in the weather. He's out there in the event. No matter what's going on, him and his team, and that's what they do. So we can say, hey, it was a reported touchdown on such and such. And one of the things that he does is go and research that, and then with that, he can determine, well, it did, and then are there victims, and is there somebody injured, or what help we need to actually send there. So again, that's why this area is just so important, because from here we can view the whole city, you know, and then again react to it in a very structured way, in a way that again is well thought out versus being just reactive because you're actually there seeing it. Here, of course, we have time to really collect ourselves and say, okay, what do we need? What tools do we need? Who do we need to send there? And I don't have to go pick up the phone. I don't have to radio. I've got them right here beside me. And I'll say, hey, okay, if this is PD, well, we need to send some officers over to X, Y, and Z. If it's street closures, I maybe need Public Works to go over and close off or block off a street. And then I'm getting constant feedback from Scott's crew, who's telling me what they see out there. So it's just a check and balance system, and it works out very well.
Scott, I have a question for you. Being that you respond to a lot of these natural disasters and that you're out there on the field, how do you handle like that emotional boundary, like as far as actually seeing these natural disasters and seeing what these people go through, everything we've lost? Like, how do you handle that personally?
Well, you got to think about it as you're sent to help them in their biggest time of need. Ultimately, we can be one of the first faces of help that they encounter after a tremendous tragic incident. They're not going to be thinking straight. They're looking for the voice of calm and a voice of direction to give them to a safe place and get their basic needs back up to them. If you remember that and think about it, you just kind of kick into automatic mode, and then later you have to decompress yourself from that. And if that means, talking to your counselors that the fire department and the city has for emergency service workers, and that's something that you need to do. It does take its toll on you after a while. It doesn't take a whole lot to trigger that, and I recommend everybody who's encountered anything of significance to go and do that. If you let it build up, it's not healthy for you. It's going to certainly not be healthy for the people that you're trying to help maybe the next time you're faced with that. So, do that. Take advantage of that situation. Talk to professionals and let them know what your feelings, get your thoughts out, and let them tell you, how to approach things on a day-to-day basis. And the next time that you face that situation, you'll be better prepared, refreshed, and ready to do it again. If you let it build up and stay inside without doing that, though, it can become a problem years on down the road, months down the road. It's something that needs to be addressed. And like I said, if it's a major incident, then I recommend to all first responders to take advantage of that situation and go and get the counseling and talk to the professionals and do that.
And just on a little lighter note, do we have any coverage as far as the eclipse? Like, I know it's not really a natural disaster, but would you all...
Sure, isn't it?
But did y'all send any, fun alerts out there? Because I know everybody was excited. It did get dark, so...
It actually ended up being a major event, because there's a difference between an incident and an event. An event's planned where an incident just kind of happens, right, and you have to react. With this, we had advanced notification, and it ended up being a major event for Nashville. The planning process started that almost a year out from the eclipse with OEM and metro entities, and the Science Museum kind of took the lead on that. And we had to manpower. We had to provide places for viewing areas. We had to provide security for those viewing areas. We had to medical support. So it ended up being a major event. So yes, the planning process on that was a huge positive for us to interact in. And all the hotels were booked. So you had the convention bureau involved. You had OEM, police, fire. Everybody was involved in that. So yeah, we made it a successful event for people to be able, a family event to be able to enjoy.
And that's something that people don't realize, but all major special events of significance in Davidson County, Nashville, which, it's growing rapidly every day. We're getting new events and new things going on, but we're a part of, there's a special events team that's actually together, and we review applications that come in, we make recommendations, we be sure that they hand us an emergency plan for that event, or what they would do, whether it's a severe weather situation or whether it's a person with ill intent to hurt someone. And we meet on that, and we make sure that the people coming, because a lot of these people come to town and they're not familiar with our settings and stuff, and we go over things with them to be sure it's a safe event. I mean, I'm talking anything from, we always do the normal stuff, 4th of July and New Year's Eve and those type things, but every football game at the stadium, we have a crew there. It's mixed between police, fire, emergency management, just to be sure that if something occurs during that event, we're ready to respond. They don't have to wait for us to get in there to the footprint to start assisting. We're already there. A lot of people don't know that happens, but the music fest, all the major outdoor concerts, there's a group close by, that's monitoring the weather, that's looking for anything that's unusual, that might need to be checked. Somebody lays a bag down and walks away from it, we want to be sure that it's not something that's going to harm somebody, so it's safe. And that's becoming a major part of what we do just in the last 10 years. So many conventions and special events. Nashville, is the it city, and everybody wants to come hold an event here, and as it does that, there's a lot of nights and a lot of weekends that are poured into this. Manpower intensive of having to be sure these events come off safely and everybody is having a good time and enjoy it and wants to come back to the next one. That's what we're all about.
And I just emphasize that really I'm glad that was brought up, because one of the things that people don't realize is that anytime there's an event, it could be the Christmas parade. I mean, all events that take place in Nashville, it's just not an event like, let's go do a parade. It is a lot of planning in it, and the planning part. And it's not just Office of Emergency Management. We emphasize it is the city, and there's so many different entities here that play a role in it. But just to put the emphasis so that your viewers know, no matter what incident that there is, or no matter what situation, no matter what event is the better word, that there is taking place in Nashville, it has been planned months before. To the point that a lot of times we always joke about it, because we're like, can't wait till that's over, because we've done put so much planning into it before it. And I don't mean that negatively, but just in a joking way, because we just don't just have a Christmas parade or the 4th of July. It just doesn't, let's just go down there and shoot fireworks. It is a big, huge ordeal because of the way society is now, because of the factors that we've got to for safety, from not even from a negative point of someone doing something wrong, but just from weather, just from people getting sick or injured, and they're in the middle of this incident, and how do we get into them to help them? I mean, from the Predators last year, all these events that was great for the city, but still we have to look at the planning aspect for it. And again, that's where the SIMP program comes in place, and that's where our people on the field, on the ground come in, and our people that are running things and keeping it moving properly. And then, of course, the planning. In any type of organization that you have, the 4 things that I always emphasize is, number 1, you got to analyze, and then you do your planning, and you implementation of it, and then you reevaluate it. And those 4 things have to take place on everything. And then for things that happen that we're not accustomed to, something new happens, or God forbid, we think about Nevada and what happened at that shooting. It was just horrific. But unfortunately, that took place. But we learn from that, and because we reach out, we see what good, what bad things happen. And I don't mean good that the incident took place, but what did the providers there, the response did, how they dealt with it, and they do that. And anytime we go through an event, we do an after-action review, because we want to go back and say, what did we do wrong, what did we do right here? And we can do everything right and things still go wrong, but we evaluate and we analyze, we plan, we implement what we plan and analyze, and then we evaluate it and then bring it back in and back up and punt if we need to. But we try to make sure planning is just a big part of everything.
Well, planning definitely is a big part. That's all the time we have, but is there any social media? I think this is something you can answer, Heidi. Could you just speak right to the camera and tell our viewers any social media or the website that we can log on to contact you guys?
Okay, you can log on to Facebook. You can find us at Nashville Office of Emergency Management, or you can even go on to Twitter, which is Nashville EOC, which is the Emergency Operations Center. Or you can also go to oem.nashville.gov, and that is our website with a lot of information for you.
All right, well, that's all we have for Trending with the Tribune. Until next time.